The following video shows you how to install the data analysis pack and then how to use the data analysis pack to do both standard error and to be able to create t-tests to get your p-values for hypothesis testing. So we'll start with installing the data analysis pack. If you go up to the top of your Excel sheet and you click on Tools, you'll see at the bottom it says Excel Add-ins. If you click there, there's add-ins are available. The one that you need is the Analysis Tool Pack. Once you select that and select OK, what you'll notice is that in your Data toolbar, you'll have Data Analysis on the right here. And you're going to use that to analyze data for your field data that we have here. So the next step is to select our data. So we're going to just select our numerical data that we want to analyze, and then we're going to click Data Analysis. We're going to scroll up and we want Descriptive Statistics. And then we need to select both our input range and our output, where we want it to be put in the sheet. So to select our input range, we select this area here, and we make sure that our numerical data is selected. In this case, each of the data sets are in rows for site 1, 2 and 3, so we make sure it's in rows. Then our output range is the only other thing we need to click on. We select here and we want it just to appear below the table, so we're going to click there. Go back in and select OK. We get a heap of really great data. We can then highlight or change the name for each of these into site 1, 2 and 3. So that we know that this information is from each of the sites. The key information that we want is our mean and standard error. So I'm just going to highlight that. And we may possibly need our standard deviation. So we're just going to highlight that so that we know the data that we need to work with. We're now going to take that data and create a table with it so that we can use it to do some other tests. So I'm going to highlight, copy this data below, I'm then going to get rid of all these the words here, and I'm just going to create a table of means for each of my sites. And that's for site 1, site 2, and site 3. I've now got the mean for each of my sites, which is great for graphing, and my standard error, which we're going to use to create error bars. So the next thing we're going to do is create our graph of this data. So we're going to select our means here for each of our sites. We're then going to create a chart. Now the chart this time we're going to create, because each of the sites is independent of each other, is going to be a column graph. And we're just going to use the standard column graph to start off with. And that's going to give us a really nice graph here. And it's showing the means of each of our sites. What we now need to add are error bars. Now we're going to use a different format to do error bars, and that's using standard error. So simply, as we've done in the past, select your chart add your chart element, and we're going to add error bars. But we're going to click the More Error Bars option. And instead of putting our standard percentage here, we're going to click Custom, and we're going to specify the value. And that value is our standard error. And it's going to be the same for both positive and negative error. So the top and the bottom of the error bar. So all we do, just like we did before, this helps us select our data. So we click there and select our standard error. And we use exactly the same set of data for the negative error value. We click OK. Now you can see, once we get out of here, that we've got error bars that relate specifically to our mean, and we can look at whether any of those error bars are actually overlapping, and that's going to help us to determine if there's any significant difference between these sites. So we're going to give this chart a title, and this is SDI sites 1 to 3. Obviously a better title would be used if we were doing this for a report, but that's going to be enough for us to be able to understand what we've got there. So that's error bars that we can see there, and we've added really good error bars using all the information that we've got here. The next video is going to show you how to do a t-test and calculate p-values from your site data.